You're listening to Achtung Millwall, broadcasting from the beautiful South Birmingham. Accept no substitute.
Hello dear listeners, well this is an unusual way to start the show, isn't it? In the wake of that 4-0 thumping, shellacking last night at home to Ipswich. But I'm always encouraging people to send me voicemail, so I thought I'd send my own voicemail in. Not sure what form today's show is going to take as I record these words. It literally is a few minutes after the end of the 4-0 defeat. Actually, it's defeat, but it was a shambles. I couldn't make it down the den tonight, and I'm quite thankful. At the start of the evening, I felt really, really guilty watching the show on TV, for various reasons, which I won't go into. Couldn't make it over there tonight. I thought, no, I'm consoling myself, but I think I'm going to go Saturday. You know, my sense of loyalty is dampened, but it'll be assuaged on Saturday when I go to Millwall. Can't make it tonight, but I'll watch it on the telly, which I always feel slightly like that kind of irrational, letting somebody down. Who are you letting down? Really, I don't know. But anyway, that's how you feel. But the performance from the side, and let's start by naming the side, because I am unconvinced that the players, the squad, the core of the squad, are playing for Joe Edwards any more than they were playing for Gary Rowett. What lies behind that, I don't know. I personally believe that this is a fundamentally spineless squad. Rowett had his many critics, and I didn't like his football, and I like the idea of what Joe Edwards is aiming for. But the fault lies, in the end, with the group of players led by the seniors of this squad, who are, some of them are still remnants of the Harris League One side. That's, from 2016-17 promotion. There's one or two still knocking around from that era onwards. But they were embarrassing. They embarrassed themselves last night, and I can't get my head around it. Listen, this won't be in truth. Anyway, the side that started versus Ipswich, Matthias Sarkic in goal, back line of Jake Cooper, Wes Harding, Ryan Leonard. Either side of them, Murray Wallace with the now suspended Joe Bryan mulling his 3-match suspension over his coffee. Danny Mack on the right wing-back side. In front of them, George Honeyman and George Saville. Romain Esse and Zian Fleming in front of them, fronted by Tom Bradshaw. Various substitutions, Denor coming in at half-time for Harding, who had an absolute mare of a first half. Billy Mitch coming on for George Honeyman on 70. Adam Mayor coming in for Romain Esse, 70. And Duncan Watmore coming in for Tom Bradshaw, also on 70. The game began with a customary good start by Millwall. That little hint that there's something in this side, there's something in the Joe Edwards project. Some good volleys on goal. Ryan Leonard early, 1 minute. There's a volley over the bar. There's a shot from George Saville, saved, smart save. A shot from Ryan Leonard again, well saved. And on 11 minutes, a low shot from Zian Fleming. So good start. It was all Millwall, actually, in that early phase. And then, as ever, as we've seen so many times now that I'm bored thinking about examples, most recently, of course, Coventry at the weekend, Sunday morning. But before that, they merge into one that long, endless spiral of good starts, thrown away by errors, mishaps, Keystone Cops defending, for all you older heads out there. Beginning with a Cooper mishap, which allowed a break forwards for Ipswich on 23 minutes. Ipswich had been gaining a bit of momentum prior to this, but anyway, they forced a mishap out of Jake Cooper, which doesn't seem to be terribly difficult a thing to do at this professional level, Championship, level 2 of the game. Only the Premier League being higher, but anyway, at this level, you can't afford mishaps and stumbling around like you're a big old dollop out there. like you go, like the big old bloke that you get at the pub, and can certainly, you wouldn't want to arm wrestle him, but you make a monkey of him on the pitch, and that's what happened in 23 minutes. Led to a corner, nice flick header, really nice finish by the Ipswich forward, can't remember his name. 1-0, 20, and from that moment, really, the blood drained from the Millwall side. It's like that one single knock that destroys them. 2-0 on 31, a shambolic own goal from a cross on the left. Millwall giving plenty of space to a decent Ipswich side. I'm laughing with the laughter of the men that came out of the trenches as they went over the top. That kind of laughter, dear listeners. Whipped in from the left, and Wes Harding puts his foot out and diverts it with aplomb into his own goal for 2-0, and that really was, I've written down clown world on my notes here. I don't know, well, I suppose that's a phrase of the time, isn't it? Clown world. We're living in a clown world, and that's what happened there. 2-0, Wes Harding. Within the 6s and 7s, Kiefer Moore managed to win a moment, but he was dispossessed at the last with dodging bullets, with shambles. 3-0 on 45 minutes, a kind of a looping downward, a strong header from Kiefer Moore. I thought he gave the kind of aerial presence that we've been gagging for since the days of Steve Morrison, really. Looped in over the head of the hapless Wes Harding. 3-0, game over. And as the co-commentator for Sky, I don't know who this generic co-com was, but he got it right when he said that Millwall have not done the basics. 3-0 at half-time, game, set and match, really. After that, second half, bit of huff and puff. A few substitutions, bit of running around, but no threat. One chance for Millwall, a few moments for Ipswich, but they took their foot off the gas pedal. They'll put it in cruise control like you do when you're cruising along the Ventura Highway with America all around you in the sun. That kind of, you're switched on, but, you're in control, no problem. A few chances. They had a really good one on 80 minutes, a poke wide, which we rode our luck on that one. And then Fleming put one over the bar on 81 minutes. And then the coup de grace, the final, the cherry, the Mr. Kipling cherry on your your Bakewell tart at the very end of the game. 90+1, a penalty. Didn't touch of bad luck about it. The challenge was actually on the other side of the penalty area, but the boy ran it into the penalty and won the penalty from the referee. Fair play to him. I think it was just to rub a bit of salt into it, it's Al-Hamadi, I believe his name is, who's the boy I saw with Aaron. I went to some hospitality with Aaron. It must have been over a year ago now, a year and a little bit. And Al-Hamadi was the star of this AFC Wimbledon side. I was sat up in the gods and members of his family in front of me, and they were clearly, rapt at his obvious talent. Anyway, he's gone to Ipswich. He hasn't gone to Millwall, he's gone to Ipswich. And he won the penalty and put it away with aplomb for 4-0. Game, set and match. Dire stuff. Dire from the squad that showed no fight, no spine, nothing that you expect as a Millwall fan. I'm sure you join me, dear listener, in not expecting to see Zinedine Zidane or Diego Cruyff take the field for the Lions, but you do expect to see 100%, and we didn't see that last night. I'm recording this now at about 10:20 as an intro to whatever format the show takes today. I've invited one or two guests to join me for a call later, and of course the voicemail. So we'll see what we get. I'm expecting a deluge of voicemail, but we'll see what we get. Where it leaves Joe Edwards, we can't carry on in this. We're getting hammered. We're not just getting beaten, listeners. We're getting hammered. The manager, unfortunately, is the person that takes the can for that. But I would add, and I strongly suspect that Joe will not last. If he lasts till Saturday, he badly needs something that we didn't see last night from this squad. But I also want to point the finger at a squad that has let him down last night. let Gary Rowett down. It's the squad. It's the squad, listeners. It always comes down to the squad because they're the ones that take the field and execute whatever instructions have been given. Whatever you might think of those instructions, it's on you, senior players of the Mill side, to go out there and execute them. And we've seen a lack of professionalism, in my opinion, from this squad for some time, in truth, up to the end of last season and now into this season. Anyway, I found that cathartic, listeners. We're going to take a short break and we'll be back with first of our series of guests on today's show.
Achtung, Millwall.
First up, dear listeners, on what is proving to be a two-parter double-header show in this crisis situation. First up is my esteemed colleague, rugby journalist and Millwall fan through and through, Neil Fissler. Neil, good morning to you, mate. Thanks for coming on the show. This feels like a full-blown managerial crisis, a Millwall club crisis at the moment. Is that too much of an exaggeration?
No, I don't think it is, Nick. Good morning, everybody. What a situation we seem to have dug ourselves into.
Absolutely.
It's unbelievable. And I'm not going to say we're going down because there's still that buffer of a 4-point gap. But that was an 8-point gap.
Yeah.
9-point gap, a fortnight ago, 3 weeks ago. It's starting to look like it's starting to be worrying, to be quite honest. I'm not going to be alarmist and say, oh, we're going down, we're doomed, because we've still got enough time to dig ourselves out of it.
We do. It does require certain attributes that I don't think anyone that watched last night's show and previous games, Neil, because last night hasn't come out of a clear blue sky, has it? I mean, there's been a few performances in recent matches, really since that win at Bristol. It seems like a long while ago now, back on New Year's Day. But since then, we've played progressively more and more, in a relegation style. Now, I'm trying to think of the right words for it, but we'll stick with that.
You're right. Yeah, no, you're absolutely right. But we have shown enough in various parts, that Sheffield Wednesday performance.
Yeah.
Yep. The way we played over Christmas.
Yep.
That we have got the ability to get out of this. What we need to do is we need to stop shooting ourselves in the foot. Every game at the moment, it's the old self-inflicted injury, isn't it? And last night was no exception. That first goal for Ipswich, well, you'd be doing your nut on a Sunday morning, wouldn't you?
You would. Yeah, you would.
Cooper not strong enough to actually he put the guy into the stand. Yeah, he's not adverse to the old rugby challenge, is he?
Maybe it's a new sport he could take up because football don't seem to suit him at the moment. He's having a bad run. I mean, a lot of debate online about Jake, isn't there?
I'm not going to dig him out for that because the more criminal aspect was the way that Murray Wallace and Sarkic looked at each other and allowed the ball to go out for a corner. If Murray Wallace had actually have done his job and put his foot through the ball and through the goalkeeper, we wouldn't have conceded the corner, they wouldn't have scored.
No. And you can't imagine a Muscat not doing what was required there. And as you say, I mean, there's that lack of communication, lack of willpower, Neil, because I think, everything you're saying, I endorse entirely. We have got the tools to get out of this self-inflicted relegation fight, but we haven't got the willpower, it strikes me. That's what was missing last night, the essential winning mentality, for want of a better way to put it. And that's just not in this side, not in this squad, it seems, which is diabolical.
We haven't got the players. I think there's a few things that need to be said, and I'm not digging out the Berylsons because I think they've been absolutely fantastic for this football club, and they will be absolutely fantastic going forward. But they're being taken for mugs by the club management and especially the players. Yeah,
I agree.
We're suffering because we've got an owner that's based in Boston. I don't know how often he comes over. Does he come over once a month?
He was
for a
there
tour?
last night. I imagine
Like,
it's a long
I
way.
think
So monthly would be a lot, wouldn't it? But yeah, I think he's there
Phil
regularly.
said he was over on Saturday.
Yeah,
Phil Clark said he was over on Saturday.
yeah.
But he largely leaves the running of the club to Steve Kavanagh,
Yes, he does.
who normally he's a bit of a safe pair of hands, isn't he? He isn't going to offend anybody other than the fans. and But he surrounded himself by a load of yes men.
Yeah, 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 yeah.
And I'm going to dig out Alex Aldridge here. Yeah,
Head of
I am.
recruitment. Yep.
Chief football operations, whatever it
Yeah,
is.
whatever the title is now. But anyway, yeah.
Yeah, Kavanagh's over promoted people that haven't really achieved anything.
Mm.
In you've got Billy, who I don't know what he does at the club. He's chief operations officer. It's just word salad. What do these people do? Alex Aldridge, I've not got anything against him per se. I think he's done quite a good job recently. He's got some. Our recruitment has largely been woeful for years, but he's tried to fix that. He's tried to look at other markets. We've gone into Europe.
Yeah, we have. Yeah.
Fleming and Denor largely have been decent signings. I know but I know that Fleming's the whipping boy at the moment. The boy's got so much ability and he isn't delivering. But then again, you could say that for almost any of the team, really, couldn't you?
Well, they've all got ability. They're all playing at a professional level, which, for the most part, most of those that criticise would never get close to. So they've all got ability. It's just, I do agree that stars of any team, and this goes whatever the club, whatever the sport, you need your stars to step up in big situations. Last night was a big situation. I mean, we're playing Ipswich, who were they're going well this season, Neil. They're in the playoff zone, but they've had a bit of a poor run lately. They were clearly get-atable, if that's an expression. But that does require some nous on the Millwall side, and that's what wasn't there last night. We looked so half-hearted, and I don't. That's the bit I don't understand. There's like a lack of willpower, a lack of will to win, and that's gone missing. Where that comes from, what lies behind it is speculation, because none of us have got an inside track on it.
We were very, very good in the opening 15, 20 minutes.
Yeah, as always. Yeah, yeah.
Just as we were at Coventry.
Yeah.
But the first goal, our first self-inflicted wound, completely knocks the wind out the sails.
It deflates us like a tyre that's got a nail stuck in it. It goes down very, very quickly, and that's what happens to us.
And we look bereft of ideas after that. It's almost as if that first goal goes in, and we know we're going to get beaten. I think there's a stat knocking around. We haven't won a game where we've fallen behind this season.
I've seen that. There's loads of stats like that. We haven't, where we go behind. We haven't won in. I think it's 25. I think I saw 25 matches where the first goal basically beats Millwall.
Yeah, mate. It's just this club is likely to get relegated because we've fallen asleep at the wheel.
Yeah.
Everybody there is too comfortable. You look at that side, we've somehow managed to replace George Long with a player who's probably worse.
He's certainly no better. I mean, George Long had some good moments, but then he had those famous errors and mishaps. I don't think Sarkic is probably on a par with him, really, Neil. I don't think he's
better.
No better, no. And we paid money for him.
Yeah. And what did we pay? 1.5 million for him or something?
Big money by Millwall standards. Not big money in the game now, but big money by our standards.
Who recruited him? Was it Aldo? I don't think it was.
Don't know.
There's a there's a school of thought going around that it was Andy Marshall, the goalkeeping coach. I don't know if that's true. Or did we use Richard Lee? For those people that don't know, Richard Lee was a former Watford goalkeeper.
Right.
And he's an agent who specialises in recruiting goalkeepers for clubs.
Right.
Did consult him? Because if you're going to let George Long go, and I'm not the biggest George Long fan, I think he was a bit of a liability. But then again, so's this guy. We haven't upgraded, and you need to upgrade your players.
Yeah, we've got to be ruthless. It's a business that is ruthless at its best. And Millwall, I think you and me have said it many times now. We tend to over sentimentalise. We want old players back, and we want to find coaching roles for old sorts that have done well for us in the past, and that kind of thing. We've got to be more. We've got to be more clinical about these things, and that's never been in our DNA. I don't think. I've got a message here from Matt Webb. Run it past you, Neil. He says he wants to throw into the debate. Do you think there's an issue between Joe Edwards and the senior players based on age and lack of playing medals? You know, I mean, Joe Edwards, I think, left the game early and became a coach, so he's never played at this level, championship level, for sure. Do you think that's rankling with some of the players who are just a couple of years younger than him and maybe finding it hard to respect him as a manager? If that's true, then that's a diabolical situation. But that's Matt's question for us. Is it his lack of playing experience that's hurting him?
Two things I've got to say on that. Is this the same group of players that allegedly didn't want Gary Rowett there?
It is the same group of players, yes, listeners, yes.
Yeah, there's two easy parts to this. I think the players in the dressing room are a cancer on this club. Yeah, you've got players in there that, to me, just appear quite content to pick up 10, 15, 20k a week, whatever we're paying them. And we will be paying them well. We've stuck with the likes of Jake Cooper. In fact, I was quite pleased that Jake Cooper re-signed. But then we've stuck with Sean Hutchinson, player way past his best. Wallace. I like Murray's attitude. Murray is a player in the Millwall mould.
He's not. Yeah, he is.
He tries, but he's a weakness. You can see it. You watched it last night. They attacked Murray Wallace, didn't they?
Yeah, they did, and they attacked them well and found payday as a consequence. Yeah,
exactly. QPR did it, didn't they?
Yeah,
QPR.
yeah, and payday again. Yeah.
Teams have identified that is our weak spot. That he is a weakness in there. Okay, yesterday it didn't help that Joe Bryant decides to plant an elbow in somebody's face on a Sky match when, quite frankly, be quite frank about it, he would have got away with that if that wasn't on television, where you've got cameras everywhere.
Yeah, and people willing to repost the incidents to suit. I mean, Coventry fans were basically identifying the minute and the second of the incident. So there you are, FA. It's laid on a plate.
They were pressing him out, yeah. So, but that doesn't help. And then you've got that piss weak Instagram post that he puts out saying that he would never hurt a fellow professional. Fuck the fellow professional, old man. You've left us in the lurch for 3 games. Apologise to Millwall fans.
Yeah. I mean, it's the kind of cappuccino type of, I can see how he played for Fulham, but he doesn't fit the Millwall template. Let's put it that way.
Another player that just cruises through games and isn't good enough. Yeah? You have a look at Murray. If he leaves us, is he going to play for another championship club?
I wouldn't have thought so. Rotherham, perhaps, but no. I mean, being sensible.
League One, he might end up in the Scottish Premier League, but it certainly won't be with a top club. It'll be with, I don't know, a Dundee United or
Yeah,
like
the middling of Scottish crowd. Yeah,
exactly. And we've had that centre of defence has been an obvious weakness.
what was a weakness for the second goal last night, Neil? The own goal, which was put away with aplomb by Wes Harding, not on purpose. I do get that, listeners, but blimey, a decent crossing from the left, and it's hit at pace past Sarkic. I don't think there's much that anyone could have done about that because it was fired
No,
in so hard. Naive.
you look at Harding, yeah. Harding was bought in to replace Dan Ballard.
Ballard or
Charlie
Charlie
Cresswell.
Cresswell, England level players. Yeah,
Exactly. These were decent players, and we've replaced them with a journeyman from Rotherham. Yeah,
an elderly journeyman because he's in his early 30s now, so he's he's not in his peak in playing terms.
so we so that's not. You want to make your side better, yeah. We seem to be hell bent on making it worse.
I mean,
And not,
I know.
it's
I've written down the basic errors. I mean, I think they said it on the commentary. I couldn't make the game last night, listeners. Last night I watched it on the telly. So that was my only benefit from the night. Or at least I wasn't out there at the den having to watch it. But there were some basic errors going down. I mean, by the end of the first half, our defence, in fact, the third goal was another slapstick kind of goal, wasn't it? That kind of looping, slow motion header from Kiefer Moore, who I thought was exactly the kind of striker that we've begged for a long time. But anyway, he got a fairly loopy header over the head of the hapless Wes Harding for 3-0, and that was, if that wasn't game set and match at 2-0, it was effectively, it certainly was at 3-0 just on the stroke of half time. That was that.
yeah, mate. It was a catastrophe that first half. People will say, "Oh well, we only lost the second half 1-0," but they were going through the motions for.
They had their foot off the gas pedal, and
Exactly. Yeah, but they knew they were going to win. They just wanted to avoid injuries.
Yeah. I mean, anyone that took any comfort. I mean, just looking at my notes here, no chances created by us. Maybe one little moment early. I think there was a great take from a looping ball forward, and SA took it, and the deflected shot from Fleming. Apart from that, nothing really until we were 3-0 down, and there was a late shot. Fleming shot over the bar from, I think it was from a corner late in the game, and then of course the penalty, which was on it was on the other side. The challenge was on the other side of the line, but I don't think you can really quibble with it because you're going to get decisions like that against you. Someone made the point about the corner that led to the third goal. Might have been a hint of offside there, but I think it's clutching at straws really to look for those kinds of complaints out of a game where we've been decisively, rightly beaten 4-0. That's not the first time we've been decisively and rightly beaten by that margin at home this season. No, it's dire. This squad is dire.
We were virtually outplayed in every phase of the game. That's an old saying. And we were. It was embarrassing.
It was embarrassing.
It was absolutely woeful. And you go back longer than me. You go back to the Petchy era.
Yeah.
Pete Anderson and the dark days when we had to sell players to pay our electricity bill and things like that.
I know.
But Christ almighty, the players just aren't up to it. And that brings us quite nicely onto it. Is the manager up to it? I know that Matt Webb sent in the question, but I think everybody can agree that Gary Rowett's time had run its course.
Absolutely, yeah. And there he was in the studio last night. I don't know whether he's got mixed feelings about it or not, really, because they're still effectively his squad, one or two additions. But it'd gone off he'd come off the tracks this season. But I mean, the amount he must have extracted from what was a fairly limited talent pool to keep us in contention for the playoffs. I wonder whether, I know his football was poor to watch, Neil, but that's quite a tribute to him as a manager that he kept us in the game for so long with such little to work with.
Yeah, no, I think that I think you're right there. But then again, his departure seemed to catch us by surprise. It seems as if we didn't have a Scooby.
No.
that this was coming. There must have been some kind of discussion.
You'd think Kavanagh would have his eye on, I mean, your earlier point about the club sleepwalking, I think, is a fair one, because it's the job of the chief executive and those that surround him to be picking up on the way the manager is thinking. Relationship's got to be very close, especially where Kavanagh is effectively James Barrelson now's local man. I mean, James can't be here all the time, so it's got to go on being Kavanagh. That you don't pick up on these the way the manager's thinking, and we're caught by surprise, as you say. I think is a damning indictment of him, because the rest of the season has gone on from there. The choice of Joe Edwards. I mean, like many others, I applaud the ambition. Whether it was the benefit of hindsight, 2020 hindsight, Neil, whether it was the right choice to try and change style so dramatically at that point in the season, I don't know. It's looked good in moments, but it's clearly not. It's not catching with this squad. This squad are incapable. I mean, I think I'd question what they are capable of, but they're certainly not capable of playing the high level game that Joe Edwards seems to want to ask of them. If we're going to survive, that's got to change, Neil.
Achtung, Millwall.
Nick, I would 100% agree with that. Joe Edwards has got his thoughts on the way we play the game, but unfortunately, he hasn't got the tools. Again, that comes down to Rowett and our woeful recruitment last summer.
Yeah.
I still believe that Nisbet will come good if we play to his strengths. We don't play to his strengths.
No, we don't. No.
Don't put the ball into the box often enough and say, there you go, son, put that in the back of the net. Yeah, we just don't do that.
We don't create chances. We create nothing. And we're 3-0 down at half time. We're being outplayed. Where's the fight? Where's the digging in? At least get yourself a consolation goal. At least have a go. We didn't see that, did we, last night? That I think is a damning indictment of the squad. The manager, I don't know. We don't really know what he's like behind closed doors, do we? He talks a good game. He seems like a pleasant boy.
His language didn't look right to me. I saw him before the game, and he was almost resigned to the fact he was going to be facing the firing squad. Just the look on his face and the way that he was sat there. And I wish that Andy Myers would stop watching Pornhub on his bloody laptop. The game time.
He's not watching much football, that's for sure. Whatever he's watching.
He's either got Pornhub or Netflix on there.
Oh dear. I mean,
again, it's comfortable street. You've got Adam Barrett there.
Yeah.
What's Adam Barrett bring to the party? Can somebody tell me? Yeah, did somebody say, oh, yeah, the players like him? Yeah, the players like Lurch's cooking. So we appointed him performance chef, and on match days, he's trying to grass people up and lob people out the ground. He's a fucking steward, for Christ's sake. It's amateur hour down at our football club.
I mean, the role of manager is a strange one. You can't be the friend of the players. You're there to take hard decisions, and sometimes you're going to be sitting in presiding over people's careers. Move them on or play them, whatever the case may be. Whether there's a basic lack of respect from some of the senior players towards Joe Edwards, I don't know. Joe Edwards has worked with some very high level names, but he's not played or managed at the high level, is he?
There's a lack of respect from the players towards this football club, not just Joe Edwards.
I agree with that. Yeah, the squad are letting him down, as they let Gary Rowett down, Neil.
Yeah, but you're exactly, absolutely exactly. We couldn't make major surgery in December, which was probably needed. So we bought in 3 players. I think it's 3, isn't it?
Tanganga and Obafemi was ill, apparently, last night. And the boy, Mayer, yeah.
The boy from Tottenham.
Yeah.
How in the hell has he got a job up there? because every time I've seen him this season, he just appears to be a mistake waiting to happen. He gave away a penalty on Sunday when it was unnecessary. Was it his mistake against Preston that led to the goal? I can't remember.
That was Wes Harding. Was the one where there was a patsy header out from defence giving the ball to the player? I can't remember. They become merged, Neil. Is
They
this
do.
this season becomes one long merge of mishaps?
I thought a guy from Tottenham, even if he is fighting his way back to fitness, I was quite excited. I thought, oh, well, this guy seems highly rated by Tottenham.
Yeah.
Yeah, and Tottenham fans were saying, yeah, you've signed a good one there. And you get lured into this.
Yeah, the hype.
Yeah.
Same,
And
same with Obafemi. I mean, he was ill last night. I don't know. I think again we're probably not playing a style that suits Obafemi. We've got a disparate bunch of players that don't fit into any particular pattern, and then we're not playing to fit anyone's.
I think what
strengths.
Edwards needs to do, Edwards, this is just like a carbon copy of the way that Gary Rabbit used to play, really.
Mm,
At the back, two wing backs,
yeah,
one Lone Ranger up front.
yeah.
Yeah, not doing an awful lot.
Invariably a short bloke. I mean, no disrespect to Tom Bradshaw, I like a lot, and Nisbet who's injured now, so it doesn't matter. But I mean, again, he was not the most. He was no key for Moore, whereas Moore gave you physical presence last night. You could see what we've not had for a long while, which is that powerful aerial threat in the box, someone that just bundles around and makes something happen. Not really since Matt Smith, I suppose, and even he was at the back end of his time in the game, really, with us. But we lack that kind of power up front, and we just look so wishy washy, Neil.
You look at the one chance, the one clear cut chance we had last night, and that was, I think it was an essay ball through to Bradshaw, who had acres of space in front of him.
Yeah, ran it into trouble, didn't he? He ran into down a blind
He
alley. Yeah,
doesn't have the legs to run 30 metres with a ball.
that's right. It was during that brief 10 minutes or so of the flowering of Millwall. You know, we had a few
Yeah,
chances, some nice shots actually. I mean, you know, Ryan Leonard caught a couple on the volley that went, you know, whistled around the. I think the goalkeeper batted one away and one went close, and then there's that ball from SA, who clearly has the talent, but he's surrounded by lesser lights, and he's not going to find much joy. After that, it was pretty much self-inflicted errors, mishaps, and I mean, I was going to say Ipswich dominance. They weren't particularly dominant. We just didn't give them any opposition, did we?
no. You go back to that Bradshaw chance. If that had been Obafemi or even Emarku,
Hmm.
they would have had the pace to
Get
put
away.
themselves in a
Yeah,
position to score.
there'd be a stride ahead. Yeah, I agree.
Exactly. The two or three defenders wouldn't have got back. Yeah, there'd have been one on one with the goalkeeper. Then you pick your number, don't you? And
Yeah,
hopefully it comes up. But you have a look at our overall tactics. Our free kicks into the box, a lump it in the middle, and
yeah.
hope that Jay Cooper, surrounded by half of Ipswich, get on the end of it. And he's being pulled and tugged and
Yeah, all I'm doing as you're speaking, Neil, I'm being very rude, listeners. I'm actually checking X for the old corner flag picture because you know this is a kind of show where events, you know, you fear that they might supersede the recording, but we'll go. So far, no news. Would you? I mean, Saturday. I'm going to presume that Joe remains in charge till Saturday, Neil. Which is a 6 point. I mean, you name your pointer really, because the boost or the dent to the team confidence if we don't get anything out of Sheffield Wednesday at home will be dire. So it's a must win, isn't it, Saturday? And I think Joe Edwards' position is on the line. If it's not already, it certainly is after Saturday.
I think if Joe Edwards' position's on the line, well, then you've got to say, do you have any faith in Aldridge to go out there and find the right man for the job?
Well, that's a question, isn't it? Yeah.
I wouldn't at the moment because, let's face it, he appears to be the man behind bringing Joe Edwards into the club. No, and Joe Edwards could turn out to be a great manager, a very good manager. But you have to question, is this the right club for him? I'm starting to question, is this the right club for him?
Yeah.
Is he right for us at the moment? Next season, when I'd dearly love us to say, yeah, well, we'll leave him in charge and then we give him the summer
Yeah.
to implement
To
his
rebuild.
ideas.
Yeah.
But fortunately, the guy that's going to be doing the rebuilding is Aldridge. And the guy that's put the manager in place. And everything I've seen from Aldridge is he'll get 1 or 2 signings out of 5 correct. And this summer, we're going to need 6, 7 signings that are correct.
Yeah, no, he needs to have a big hit rate. That's for sure.
Yeah, and do you have faith? No, I don't, to be quite honest. And I'm not digging it just for the sake of it, because I want this club to succeed. We all love this football club. Yeah, but these people are custodians of our dreams. Our dreams are for Millwall to play in the Premier League, to be as good as we can. But like everything at Millwall, it's a cruel mistress, especially on Valentine's. Funnily enough, somebody else put the tweet out that I was going to put out yesterday morning.
Yeah.
Happy Valentine's Day to my one great love, and a picture of the wall.
I saw that one.
It was brilliant. But that's how we all feel. Yeah, we all love this football club.
Yeah, no, it was hard watching Ipswich, the whole packed Ipswich end sing their songs, and having nothing to reply back with was hard.
It seems resigned to a fate that could happen. There's still time to get out of this. But to go back to your original point, yeah, it's a key game for Joe Edwards.
Yeah,
I think getting rid of him would be a serious admission of failure by the club management. Yeah, okay, some people say, oh, well, Jimmy Berylson appointed him. No, he was advised. Jimmy Berylson does not have the football knowledge.
No, he would take an advice from his team, which would be primarily Kavanagh and Alex Aldrich and Billy Taylor. That's where the advice would have come from. It remains to be seen whether it was a good choice or not. I mean, from the Joe Edwards' perspective, he needs to survive. He needs to get through Saturday. He needs to survive to the summertime and then have the chance to rebuild. It's going to be interesting to see what kind of team he turns out on Saturday, Neil, because there are players in that side last night who've let him down personally badly, and he needs to be ruthless in his approach, I think.
Yeah, the other point is, can we afford to get rid of him?
Well, that's...
because this comes under financial fair play.
Yeah.
I did see that last week or the week before there was talk of Chelsea getting rid of Pochettino. I know it's not on the same level.
Yeah.
But they can't. But apparently they can't afford to because the overall spending
it will bust the limits. Yeah.
goes to the limits of financial fair play.
And that's Chelsea, listeners, not Millwall. That's Chelsea. Premier League.
Can we
Chelsea.
afford to do it? Is another question. Yeah? But he needs to make some radical decisions over the next 2 or 3 days. And does he think, right, these players have got us into it, they've got to get us out of it, but I don't think they're interested in getting us out of it.
Well, that's the thing that strikes me, mate. That's the thing that strikes me.
You say, fuck it, let's put a couple of under-21s in that have been impressing.
Yeah.
And they'll give them a go. It's quite obvious that, personally, I'd like to see us go back to 4-4-2 for a game.
Well, nothing else is working, Neil. I'll make you right about bringing some of the youngsters in. Maybe not a complete reshuffle, but certainly enough to make a big point. I personally think it's got to be worth it. We're at stick and twist time now, aren't we? If we get beaten Saturday, I think we look doomed, personally.
Yeah, Yeah, but do we have a left back in the reserves? I think we do. He's been on the bench a few times, hasn't he?
Adam Malaki, is he away on loan now? But yeah, well, there must be someone.
But well, that's the point. There are players that are playing quite well in a decent under-23 side, under 23, under 21, whatever you want to call.
Yeah.
Yeah, they've got to be better than what we've got. We've got senior players that are cruising. So let's think outside the box. I'd rather we go down fighting.
Yeah,
rather
than this acceptance of your fate, which is what we're seeing at the moment.
2 months before the end of the season, because it is going to be one hell of a long 2 months. Let's try something different, Joe. Let's try two up front. That's providing you've got two players that can play.
Or maybe push Fleming further forwards. I don't know.
Fleming's apparently going to be available for the weekend. I don't know what the Millwall flu was last night. I don't know if he's. But I don't know if he took one look at the weather at lunchtime and thought, "Oh fuck this,
stay at home tonight."
We'll stay at home tonight and watch a bit of Netflix and a bit of Champions League. I hate doing these things because you have to be unkind and you have to.
But equally, as honesty is needed in this situation, and I think.
And there are people that are taking our club for mugs. Yeah. And I love the club. You love the club.
Absolutely.
Everybody loves the club. And we're just sleepwalking into relegation.
Which will be a disaster. Financial disaster.
Yeah, but that's the other thing. Yeah, I see people say, "Oh, maybe relegation wouldn't be a bad thing." It would be a fucking disaster. Have you seen how much money the difference is between the Championship?
I noticed Danny Baker's coming out with it. I mean, with his platform, he's coming out with this. It's not too bad to get relegated. We've survived it in the past, but it's never a good thing, Neil. It's never been a good thing in our history. It's always a disaster for Millwall. So the idea that we're going to go down to League One and come back cleansed and, springing from the fire is absolute bollocks, in my opinion.
Have you seen how much money the difference is between the Championship and the League?
It's vast. It's vast.
If we go down next season, we're not coming back for 5 years.
Have a look at Charlton, see where they are at the moment, listeners. You know where they are. You know where they are. So
they're a basket case club, and we shouldn't be a basket case club.
No.
But unfortunately, we've got people running our club that couldn't run a bath. To be quite honest, but that old expression,
that's a good one. I like that one.
Yeah, but it's true though, Nick. It's absolutely true.
Great stuff, Neil. Big thank you for joining me this morning, mate. I do appreciate your time. We're going to be listening now to a few of the voice notes that have been sent to me. And join me again in part 2 when we'll be listening to a few more of the voice notes that have been sent to me. So I've had a deluge, as you would have expected. But for now, big thank you, Neil Fissler. Thanks for joining me, mate. I appreciate it.
No problem, mate.
Hello, Nick. Just Adam Wicks here, just leaving a voice note after last night's performance against Ipswich, where we lost 4-0. We're in serious trouble now. I'm really struggling to think of Millwall sides that capitulate in the way that we seem to do. The players are so mentally fragile. I do not know what's happened to Cooper, but someone please get that armband off him and give it to someone that can actually lead. What on earth he was doing for the first goal is unbelievable. Really struggle to, aside from Leonard, can't apportionately blame SA's direction. He's just an 18-year-old kid. I mean, apart from Leonard, I think it was pretty disgusting all round, and that's me being pretty kind. I was tempted to leave a voice note while I was walking home last night at about 1:45. But while I was fuming, not really calmed down, to be fair, too much. But I really don't know where. I don't know where we go. I don't know where. I can't see where the next goal's coming from. I can't see. I can't see any leadership across the board, from team to bench to above management. I don't know what is going on. It's hard to put into words how bad it was. I mean, the individual errors were stuff you'd expect schoolboy teams not to do, and it's just, I think we're in serious trouble. I can't see where the next point's coming from, let alone a win. I think, if we don't beat Sheffield Wednesday on Saturday, then that I think we're toast. We are totally finished. I mean, it obviously doesn't help missing, Norton Cuffey, Brian. I think Amaku's been a massive loss. We just lack any sort of pace to get us up the pitch. Obafemi being ill. Obviously injuries to Longman, Nisbet. I mean, we are really scratching around for players, and I just, I don't see the desire. I really don't see the desire from any of the players. I mean, I thought Saville was absolutely atrocious yesterday again, and why he started over Denort, I can't fathom. I can't fathom some of the decision making. I do like what Edwards is trying to do. I think what this highlights for me is that the rot. There was a level of rot set in, and I'd even go, almost back as far as that sort of before the Blackburn game, when we were struggling to, put teams like Wigan to bed. We were losing at home to sides we should have been beating. There's a level of unprofessionalism there that is, it's unforgivable, really. And I think one of the things that's disappointed me a little bit is just the crowd seem to have given up as well. We need to let them know this is not on. It's not good enough, and they've got to pull their fingers out. Someone's got to people have got to stand up and be counted. I mean, it's irrelevant really, but I got up to go to work at 4 a.m. yesterday, and I didn't get home until 1 o'clock in the morning, having watched that. And they're not putting in a fraction of the effort that we do as punters in our day-to-day lives, and it's appalling. It's anti-Millwall. This is not what we're about. It needs sorting quick. I'm not sure Edwards is going to survive, to be fair, but I'm not sure it's his fault. I think this goes far higher and deeper than we maybe previously thought. It's not good. Anyway, come on, you Lions, and on to Saturday.
Hi Nick, Steve Morton here from Bolton. Yes, Bolton up in the northwest. Moved up here 30 odd years ago, so a bit of an exiled Millwall fan. Been listening to your podcast all this year. It's been really useful to keep up to date with fellow Millwall fans' opinions and your own, etc. And it's a great show, so thanks for that, and please keep up the good work. Just thought I'd quickly give you my call, first-time caller, and give my thoughts on the current situation. I mean, look, for starters, a bit bizarrely, I would say I'm not necessarily a Joe Edwards out at this moment in time, but I totally understand he's not doing a very good job. I think he's got some challenges, but I don't think he's helping himself, and I'll quickly rattle through what I think. Sadly, despite thinking he shouldn't get sacked, bizarrely almost, I think we're going to get relegated. I hate to be a bit of a doom monger. I'm not normally a glass half empty guy, but I've been thinking the writing's been on the wall for several weeks now. I think back to the QPR game, a terrible performance, thought we were awful. And like you, that was after we played Middlesbrough. And funnily enough, for one of the first times in a long, long time, we lose a game of football, and I was actually feeling quite good, thinking we're going in the right direction. We're going to do something here. And it's not really kicked on from there other than bits and bobs along the way. Where's it all going wrong? I think players clearly poor, especially last night. Terrible commitment. I mean, SA puts Bradshaw through. He struggles to get round the defender, even though the defender was a bit of a donkey. But what amazed me was he gets to the edge of their box. There's 4 defenders around him, not one blue shirt anywhere near him. Where's the effort and commitment to get forward? And that's one of our major problems, without a doubt. But on top of that, I think it's the formation we keep playing. I'm genuinely not bothered whether it's a 4 or a 5 at the back. But we just it's the midfield for me. We get cut through game on game, especially home games. We seem to get ripped apart and have so much space in the middle of the park. All the while, we've got more midfielders than any other position in the club. So I would fill the midfield more. Would it be a 5-4-1 with a number 10? Would it be a 4-5-1? I don't know. But look, for me, fill that bloody midfield most definitely. I also wanted to say Joe's in-game management, I think, is poor. The QPR game, an example where he didn't use a sub at half-time. I thought he'd bring 3 on. And he only ended up bringing, I think, 1, if at all any. You've got to make changes. You've got to make an impact. Like last night, why didn't he change it in the first half? Absolutely crazy. So I think he's got to get better at that. Free kicks, corners, Jesus. The definition of insanity, just doing the same thing all the time, thinking it's going to change. We've got to change it and mix it up. We did last night, nearly scored. Why aren't we doing more of that? Really needs to be done. And the last thing for me, January transfer window. Can't believe it. I thought it was poor. We got the players in far too late and they're not fit. So actually, by the time we've got them fit and up and running, it's probably more likely March when we needed them at the beginning of January. And if you couldn't get players then, you're going for the wrong players. You needed to get players that we could get early and get in amongst the team. So a lot of things going wrong this year, and it all feels like we're on the road to nowhere, but sadly not nowhere, the road to Division 1. I hate to be a doom monger, as I say, but I can't see anything else. But fingers crossed I'm wrong. As I say, thanks for everything you do, Nick. Keep up the good work, and come on, you Lions.
Nick, Matt Richards. It's the manner of that tonight that's worse than anything else. It's the manner of it. Okay, mistakes in the first half. Second half, it's just fucking appalling. No fight, nothing. It was like a friendly. It's like a friendly, and they're not playing for the club. They're not playing for the manager. That can't continue. Where is the fight? Where's the battle? Where's the showing that they actually care? There's none of that. It's just not good enough. It's not good enough. I don't know if he'll stay. I don't know if he'll get a sack tonight. Don't know really. Don't care really. It's got to change. It's got to change quick. Okay. Cheers, Nick.
Achtung, Millwall.